welcome to the hard sell, where the stick in the swill-bucket rattles back. It's Easter again, and I aim to celebrate with a Not Brand X. If you don't know what this setting and costume could have to do with Easter, you haven't watched many adverts in your life. The chocolate product in focus today is, of course, the Milkybar. But soft, should the Milkybar be considered a chocolate product at all? Is white chocolate a category error? After all, it's pale and, well, milky. How could it possibly count as actual chocolate and not a literally pale imitation? Well, my answer to that is, it's maybe cocoa butter. What the fuck do you want? Besides, it's delicious. Who gives a shit about taxonomical quibbles? White chocolate was invented by the Swiss, although no one's quite certain when, because they kept it to themselves for quite some time. There are reports of them being used as army rations, yes, the Swiss have an army, in 1917. But rumours aside, the world at large remained ignorant of its existence until 1936, when Lausanne's own Nestlé brought out the Galak Bar, or as it's known in the English-speaking world, the Milkybar, the original white chocolate. As with a lot of things in the confectionery world, the whole point of white chocolate is purely economical. In the process of making their regular chocolate, Nestlé found themselves with a surplus of milk powder and cocoa butter, and so they experimented to see if there was anything they could make out of just those ingredients. Lo and behold, there was. A sweet, creamy confection they initially considered as a coating for vitamin tablets, before realizing they could harden it into blocks and have a third type of chocolate, although the lack of cocoa solids meant some territories refused to associate them with the C word at first. Inevitably World War II got in the way. The Swiss may not have fought in it, but they couldn't do anything about the inevitable shortages in ingredients and the like. The Milkybar disappeared in 1940 and didn't return until well after the end of confectionery rationing in the UK in 1956. By then, of course, ITV was the thing, and therefore television advertising. But if the Milkybar was ever advertised in the 1950s, there's no sign of any of it, or any clues to how it might have gone. In fact, all indications are that it wasn't until 1961, and the debut of one of the most enduring ad mascots of all time. It's
the Milkybar Kid.
The Milkybar Kid is strong and tough, and only the best is good enough. The creamiest milk, the whitest bar, the good taste that's in Milkybar.
The Milky Bars are on me.
Milkybar so creamy white, Nestlé Milkybar.
And so we met everyone's favourite juvenile Aryan gunslinger, only with white chocolate instead of guns. Although in the interest of full disclosure, this one comes from a 1991 repressing for his 30th anniversary. You can tell because the jingle says Nestlé, where the original would have called them Nestles. Nestlé being too foreign for British ears in 1961. Dare say it'll change back within a decade the way things are going. Anyway, it's the Milkybar Kid. The idea the advertisers had was that the Milkybar, and white chocolate in general really, were associated primarily with children. Not for any tangible reason that matters, just because of various aesthetic differences. For one thing, it's higher in sugar and lower in caffeine than regular chocolates. Consider how the varieties considered and sold as most grown up have almost no milk and are basically solid obsidian blocks of pure bromide. And of course, as the name suggests, it's pale and milky. And that's just inherently childish, semiotically speaking. It's like beginner's chocolate that you have before you graduate to real, actual cocoa solids. So the obvious thing for the advertisers to do was to aim it directly at the children it seemed to have been made for. So what did kids like in 1961? Well, westerns were definitely still a thing, and dressing up as cowboys and Indians was still popular. Smarties had mined the same seam around the same time.
Buy some for Lulu.
And so was born the Milkybar Kid and his Bugsy Malone meets John Ford world, populated by under-10 piano players, gamblers and gunslingers. Into which strolls this blonde, specky stranger. Blonde to match the bar, naturally. Specs because, I don't know actually, perhaps to offset the macho Gary Cooper figure whose role he's taking. Anyway, he wins through all the dangers the Old West can throw at him without either side actually being able to use anything resembling violence. And once victory is assured, yells his catchphrase to widespread acclaim.
The Milky Bars are on me!
All to the exact same song every time. It was basically the same advert over and over, but it worked, because kids, even in the 60s, didn't have great attention spans. Also, their attention spans weren't great. The only drawback was the tendency of small children to grow up. The original Milkybar Kid was Terry Brooks, who's now a semi-retired gardener living in Spain. The Milky Bars were on him for 5 years until his balls finally fell in 1966. By then, the Milky Bar was a top seller and his work was essentially done anyway. The kid didn't mosey back until 1974, now played by freckle-faced John Cornelius, who brought a sort of Just William touch to the character.
It's the Milkybar Kid!
The Milkybar Kid is strong and tough, and only the best is good enough. The creamiest milk, the whitest bar, the goodness that's in Milkybar. Milky Bar, so creamy white, nestles Milky Bar.
Frankly, he looks like he may have been a little troublemaker, which is of course splendid because kids like watching naughty children better than they like being them. The adverts were more or less the same as ever though, except for being in colour.
It's the Milkybar Kid!
The Milkybar Kid is strong and tough, and only the best is good enough. The creamiest milk, the whitest bar, the goodness that's in Milkybar.
The Milky Bars are on me!
Milky Bar, so creamy white, nestles Milky Bar.
Cornelius kept the role for 4 years, from the ages of 7 to 11, before voluntarily relinquishing it because he wanted to go back to being a kid while he still had the chance. Also, he didn't even like white chocolate and spat it out as soon as the man yelled cut. He departed in 1978, which was perfect timing. Westerns were by and large dead, even revisionist ones. Not that Milky Bar ever ventured into Sam Peckinpah territory, thank God.
If they move, kill them.
Point is, kids didn't particularly care for cowboys anymore. Instead, well, there was this one film that was quite popular.
May the Force be with you in Star Wars.
This is what a paradigm shift is. Suddenly space was the hotness, and the Milkybar Kid was therefore dusted down and reimagined in time for Return of the Jedi in 1983. After all, who other than Kevin Costner gave a shit about cowboys in the 1980s? The scenario was moved to a pristine white spacecraft, and the kid dressed up as a Luke Skywalker figure in a pair of white bath towels.
When the Milkybar Kid is out in space, there's only one thing he carries in case. It's the creamiest milk, the whitest bar,
The yummy goodness in Milky Bar.
Milky Bars are on me!
nestles Milky Bar.
The new kid was one Robbie Humphreys, who's now a drama teacher. His pale and interesting nature may have been connected to a serious kidney condition, which may also be related to the fact that he only held the role for 3 years. By the end of that time, you can start to see evidence of Nestlé, they'd finally started pronouncing it that way by the end of Humphrey's tenure, losing their grip on the aesthetic. Since Star Wars changed everything, they'd been chasing the zeitgeist rather than sitting astride it, and it was starting to show. The kid was still a Luke Skywalker figure, usually, although when he introduced Milkybar white chocolate buttons, they made him the ringmaster in a circus for some reason.
The show has only just begun, so hurry in and join the fun. This bar is big and creamy white, but how will the kids all get a bite? Who's this? No need to stop the fun. There'll be Milkybar buttons for everyone. Milkybar buttons are creamy white. Roll up, they taste just right. Milkybar buttons are best by far, with goodness from Nestle Milkybar.
Milkybar buns want me!
Milkybar buttons, new from Nestle.
So many incarnations. By the mid-80s, they were trying to crossbreed the Star Wars thing with the newer hotness of the Never-Ending Story and other such fairy tale fantasy revivals, as seen in this one, which comes complete with childlike Empress facing down a bright green Darth Vader figure.
A million miles beyond the sun, the Milkybar feast has just begun, but in the middle of the dance, the evil knight sees his chance.
It's Milkybar Kid!
The Milkybar Kid is tough and strong. The Milkybar Kid just can't go wrong. With creamiest milk, the whitest bar. It's the same Milkybar.
Milkybar's on me!
Fortunately, this is an advert and was therefore always going to be bollocks, so they actually get away with it. The next kid, and the first to take over immediately without the campaign taking a couple of years nap in between, was, strangely enough, Anthony Eden. Yes, the Earl of Avon himself, revived from the dead after 10 years, and obviously it's a child actor with the same name, ho ho ho. Now it's 1988 or so, and Indiana Jones is a thing. So we're mostly doing action in exotic locales like jungles and swamps. All are still ostensibly on alien planets with alien monsters.
By a slimy swamp near a rocky ridge, the Milkybar gang cross an old road bridge. When up comes Slurp, that slimy pest. He wants to steal the Milkybar chest.
It's the Milkybar Kid!
Milkybar Kid is tough and strong. But you just can't go wrong. Creamiest milk, the whitest bar.
The Milkybars are on me!
That's Nestle Milkybar.
Milkybar from Nestle.
The whole point of the campaign is starting to slip through Nestle's fingers at this point. But fortunately, by the early 90s, westerns are back. Partly through legit revivals from the likes of Kevin Costner and Clint Eastwood, and partly as nostalgia. Either way, good enough for Nestle, and the original Milkybar Kid was back. Not the actual original, of course, that would have looked downright weird, but in his original configuration, as the blonde-haired, white chocolate-slinging stranger, and just in time for the aforementioned 30th anniversary. A kid named Simon Desborough took over the role for what amounted to a bunch of straight remakes of the 60s adverts. Mostly. This very first one's unusual in inserting a bad guy, a fully grown adult, menacing this town o' kiddies. What a bastard.
Now the man they call the sheriff was a low-down, dirty rat, mean as a rattlesnake. Why, he once stole a hat. If he passed by your way, better watch out there, you see. So the town called for help, and along came
Me! It's the Milkybar Kid!
The Milkybar Kid is strong and tough, and only the best is good enough. The creamiest milk, the whitest bar, the good taste that's in Milkybar.
The Milkybars are on me!
Milkybar so creamy white, Nestle Milkybar.
Notice how the song now says of the good taste that's in Milkybar instead of the goodness. Can't really imply it's good for you anymore. Campaign went on for another 5 years, fittingly mirroring the span of the original 30 years earlier, although by the end of this one they'd changed the kid again. For the last 2.5 years he was played by Gareth Watchman. A good choice, because he's from a horsey family who ran a stables. In fact, he later became a show jumper and is now the hunt master of the Zetland hunt in North Yorkshire, so let's not speak of him ever again.
The whitest bar, Nestle Milkybar.
campaign then took another couple of years off. Westerns were dead again, even deader than before. In a sense that didn't matter though, because by now the Milkybar Kid was an icon in and of himself. No one even remembered the Space Boy or whatever Anthony Eden was meant to be. So they decided to stop worrying about the setting and just use him as an icon. They created a bubble-headed animated version, complete with blonde hair, glasses and cowboy costume. Gave him a horse and dog for sidekicks, and commissioned some scenarios in which his Milky Bar is threatened by various thieves.
Woof woof! One day we were watching the Milkybar Kid water skiing.
What if it was your Milky Bar?
What if it was your Milky Bar? Later that slogan was apparently deemed too abstract for kiddywink brains, and the small child's slightly mush-mouthed delivery, adorable as it was, probably didn't help. Thus,
one day the Milkybar Kid said it was time for a spring clean.
Hungry plant? How would you save your Milky Bar?
campaign still didn't really catch on, but thanks to that iconic status, the kid's never really gone away. Nor was the association of the bar with childhood and the kiddywink market, in spite of Nestlé's best efforts. In 2010 they brought out the raisin and biscuit variety, specifically aimed at adults, to try and bring back the post-puberty vote, complete with a particularly stupid advert thoroughly embracing the kid status as icon and symbol.
New Milkybar Raisin and Biscuit audition.
The new. The Milkybar Kid is strong and tough.
Only the best is
good enough.
The creamiest milk.
The whitest bar.
Oh, the good taste of the Milkybar. Nestlé's
Milkybar.
The Milkybars are made.
Be the kid yourself at milkybar.co.uk. New Milkybar Raisin and Biscuit. Come on, ungrow up.
It's what happens when your mascot becomes iconic. You do patronising things like that. Oh well. Raisin and Biscuit didn't catch on, surprisingly enough, and the kid's come and gone from the packaging ever since for reasons of modernisation or stemming the obesity crisis or whatever. He'll be back when he's needed, though. Just when we need him the most. He'll ride back into town, the sun at his back, milky white hat brim shielding his eyes, and we'll know at that moment we're safe again. Now and forever. The Milky Bars are on him. Not that anybody seems to pay for anything anyway.
To the town of our Freer rode a stranger one fine day. Hardly spoke to folks around him, didn't have too much to say. No one dared to ask his business, no one dared to make a slip. The stranger there among them had a big iron on his hip, big iron on his hip. It was early in the morning when he rode into the town. He came riding from the south side, slowly looking all around. He's an outlaw, loose and running, came the whisper from each lip, and he's here to do some business with a big iron on his hip, big iron on his hip. In this town there lived an outlaw by the name of Texas Red. Many men had tried to take him, and that many men were dead.
You just sat through a Bob the Fish production. Nice! If you haven't already, you absolutely must check out bobthefish.org.uk. Literally hundreds more videos not unlike that one, adding up to days worth of entertainment and all absolutely free. But if you're not a cold-hearted skinflint, you can always support us on Patreon. For as little as anything at all, you can make programs like the one you just watched possible in the first place, and become eligible for bonus material such as glimpses of the book I'm writing about the BBC, monthly riffings on random commercial breaks, the complete archives of the angry political satire magazine Two Sons, and even the odd very occasional bonus video essay unavailable anywhere else. If nothing else, you should prevent me from starving and or freezing to death in the foreseeable future, so that'd be nice. No pressure or anything. bobthefish.org.uk. You make it what it is.